just good play, and it takes excellent micro, and you have to really pay attention to pull it off. But the hard thing is, it's just really hard for Protoss to deal with, and there's certainly a lot of different things that a Protoss player can do, and we can see the Templar there. They're going to be a little vulnerable, and critically that Scout's going to get in with those Scourge and also that Zergling, so Hyuk is going to now know those Templar are there, and a lot of times, and it looks like that might be Dragoon range, or it might be +1 for the Corsair going up on that Cybernetics core, the +1 air there,
right,
or the range. But what I was going to say, and some Lurkers are out too, like you mentioned, so those are going to be very good against Zealots. But what I was going to say is a lot of Zerg players actually get really aggressive and send their mutas straight into the base. So they know the timing of the Templar, like those Templar just chilling right there.
Right.
They get really aggressive and just move the mutas right in and take out those Templar, because even if they lose a muta or two, I mean, it's so worth it, because like you said, the damage that high Templar can inflict is just ridiculous, and so if you can take that down, Protoss loses a very distinct advantage in the matchup. So Protoss, you know, they have to be more creative, and it looks like a big attack coming in here. Lurker's going down, so that's going to force Pure to back up, but the Templar right there immediately. Nice job out of his Templar. I think he's going to get some good storms off here. Yes, good storm on 3. Yep, 3 of those Lurkers are going to go down right now, at least 2 of them. Couldn't quite get the 3rd one, but there's enough speed lots there. And enough Templar, and wow, another good storm. Again, Hyuk doesn't have the mutas right now, so that is a problem for Hyuk. If he would have had the mutas to supplement his force, that would have been really good here.
This is what you do to counter a Zerg when you're a Protoss. This is what you do, Steve, when you play me, and I hate it. You storm, storm, storm. Doesn't matter if you're on a ridge, doesn't matter if you're down a ridge. Storm's going to do damage. The Mutalisks are out, and we're going to see if he can do any sort of sniping. I don't know if he's going to do any harass. That mineral line would be open to some harassing there. There's no cannon in the middle of the mineral line to defend that. I'm assuming that these are going to hang around here to try to possibly do some sniping. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I've seen some really good micro with the Mutalisk on Mutalisk when he played against Jadon, when he played against Effort. But there is we have seen the Mutalisk kind of hanging around the middle of the map, and they are going to go out right now. They're going to go in, possibly to try to get some sniping done here. But there are 2 Archons, and that was actually a really good idea by Pure, because those Mutalisks are going to be always running from the Archons. And more Dragoons, and a storm, a couple storms, not good, but good anticipation, just a very good evasion and on Hyuk's part. So Hyuk doing nothing with his Mutalisks at all, but not losing his Mutalisks.
Yeah, but you could see exactly what I was talking about on the minimap. I mean, Hyuk was moving. He was hunting with those Mutalisks around, looking for the Templar. And so Pure did a really good job of sending his Templar back. And now again, with a heavy Dragoon force, this is something we just haven't seen a lot. But over the last, gosh, just like the last month, we've seen a lot more Dragoons, a lot more Archons, and it's to counter these Mutalisks. So with such a huge Dragoon force there, I mean, Dragoons are pretty decent against Hydras. They're kind of the all-around unit for Protoss. They don't get used a lot because they're kind of buggy and because Zealots and Storms are just so much better.
Right.
But now that Protoss is not doing so well with their Templar, they're getting a Templar snipe, you know, they have to go to the almost kind of secondary choice of going for the Dragoons. But honestly, it works pretty well. And again, these Mutalisks are going to try to come in and snipe, but there's nothing there but a crapload of Dragoons. And so those Mutalisks just not that effective. So Templar are hanging back. They can still get sniped back there easily. If Hyuk just figured out that they were back there, and that's going to be a critical play. But one thing that's interesting to note is Pure has not got his 3rd expansion, which it looks like he's just now finally setting up to do. But he could certainly take that. Pure has a lot of map control with this huge force that he has. He's got a lot of Dragoons. I think he's got some little Zealots there, but also a big force from Hyuk. And Pure should really be putting down his 3rd hatchery now, I think. But I think he's just pumping a lot of units and thinking about making a big attack here. Definitely moving around the drones and just getting a lot of control on the map. It looks like one Lurker coming in here, quite a few Hydras. The Observer might be out of position. There's no Templar there, so I don't know what these Mutalisks are doing. They're just attacking the Dragoons. Not a very good idea. Dragoons are pretty strong, and it looks like a pretty good storm there. Oh, huge storm on the Mutalisks! All the Mutalisks go down! Wow, that is going to be huge factor for Pure, but huge number of Hydras coming in here, so Storm or not, Pure is now out of Storm, and he is going to have to retreat because there's just so many Hydras, and Hydras are really good. I mean, like I said, they're pretty even against Dragoons, but they are a little better than Dragoons, and usually you have a lot huger number of them. So, really big army now for Hyuk. It's comprised of all Hydras, though, and one thing Pure did wrong is he doesn't... Okay, good storm there, and some Zealots. I was going to say is, one problem with Pure's army is he pretty much completely stopped building Zealots, and you got to have some Zealots. So, definitely, there's a perfect mix to have, and you don't want to just have all Dragoons, because then you've got nothing to stop the Hydras, and it looks like decent storm here. Hyuk Hyuk is actually circumventing around the map. If you look at the map on the mini-map on the top left, he's bringing a bunch of Hydras in here. He's going to be able to break the front while Pure is focused here on this army here, which is the smaller army. Hyuk does have to be worried about a counterattack here. But a ton of Hydras coming in. Hyuk is going to have to control both groups. It looks like this group is just going to go down. Pure is going to have to immediately retreat. So a big army going down for Hyuk, but the damage might be insurmountable here for Pure. A ton of buildings going to go down. It looks like Dragoon is trying to get back in position, and a huge storm here could be really important, but I don't know if there's any energy. They're pointing out, yes, there is energy. Really good storm. That's going to do a lot of damage to those Hydras. So Hyuk is forced to pull back, and Pure doing an excellent job defending. Templar have been critical for Pure this game.
And Pure critically is doing an awesome job defending them. Did you notice the defensive storm over his own buildings when the Mutalists tried to fly in? I mean, he did defensive storms with the Templar he's trying to defend to try to keep them out. He has kept them barricaded in the base and only brought them out when they were needed. This right here is a good play. This is a counter to the Sauron Hydralisk build that has been killing Protoss so often. I haven't seen this very often. In fact, I don't think I can't remember a Protoss game where I've seen this kind of play, where the Templars weren't just wandering the fields with everybody else like this. Now, that right there is not smart. What happens? Those can get picked off very easily. Now, Hyuk is not scouting with his Mutalisk very well, so he's not able to get that out of there. Oh, again, a lot of this, I think, is Hyuk being really unlucky, and he's just not finding the Templars.
Hyuk is not doing, I mean, what you're saying about keeping Templar on the base, that's relatively standard for Protoss. Protoss do keep Templar in there to defend themselves and also to try to keep them safe with the cannon support. But like I said, better players like Jaedong or maybe Calm or Effort, they'll just go in and snipe those Templar anyway at the base. So I don't know why, and it looks like, yep, Templar going to get sniped here. There's a second Templar going to get sniped. No defensive storms there, but Pure is pushing up with a huge army here. Actually, it's about half the, it's about the same size as Hyuk, so not sure who's going to win this battle. Hyuk morphing some lurkers before they get killed. And it looks like a lot of Dragoons going down. Again, Hydras are just more powerful than Dragoons when great numbers. But some critical High Templar coming back, and Hyuk is not dodging the storm. So again, Pure comes out of the battle because of his High Templar. And Pure has kept his High Templar alive longer than any Zerg would like to have. And so even though Hyuk did snipe 2 Templar there, there's just more High Templar in the reserves.
Well, that's what I was talking about earlier. In the late game, you don't see a lot of Templars sitting around at the base unless they're just charging up. And I think that he actually left about half of his Templars in the base that probably already had Storm. Look at that. He's able to bring them out in the middle of the battle after Hyuk sniped his current Templars that were on the field. So I think a really, really good strategic move there. You know, normally, I mean, we certainly see Templars in the base, but, you know, you're making your big push. You send your Templars out, then they get sniped, then you have maybe 1 in the base. But there was 3, 4, 5 sitting in the base for Pure, so that was a really good move. Obviously, Pure also is really skilled with where he places his storms, which is really impressive here. A smaller force here for Pure. He does have some reinforcements coming out. Right now, I think Hyuk has been strong, but I think Pure has been stronger in his play, and he is going to be able to take out this base unless Hyuk does something very quickly, but he doesn't. Excuse me, Hyuk is going to be running away, so currently the bases are going to be even. They are even now. Pure is firmly in lead with this game, and I am worried that unless Hyuk can tech to Defilers and maybe do some crazy stuff with those, I don't know if Hyuk is going to be able to make it out of here alive. We do see a counterattack going. If Hyuk can take out the bottom left base, this would be a huge, huge opportunity, but he has to worry about his own bases getting wiped out in the process.
Yeah, and Hyuk needs to take down at third base. That is critical. Both players, as we saw, actually their side count, their food count was getting pretty low because of those big attacks, and both players went for expansions, and Hyuk's went down because of the attack, and now Pure is attacking the front, but I don't know if this is a good idea because he's just sacking his third right here. Probably not a good idea. He did not know that attack was coming, but he might be able to break through because all of Hyuk's forces are taking out at third, so if Pure can break through this, then he could take the game, but I'm not sure it's going to happen. There are quite a few sunkens, and it looks like Hyuk is bringing back his Hydras. Hard to know whether that's the right decision or not because Hyuk did not take down that Nexus, I don't think, so I don't know